Hi everybody, I'm here in my son's house in beautiful Kelowna. I am setting up, I'm just kind of looking through my art supplies because I'm doing a class tomorrow at a community called Gallagher's Community in Kelowna, and I'm going to be working with 7 to 10 ladies, and it's going to be really fun. So I'm going to be videotaping some of that to show you, but what I'm doing here is going through my supplies. So we'll go through my supplies first, and then we'll head on over to the event. Okay? So the first thing I'm doing is my son got out, he's kindly keeps my box of supplies and my easel in his crawl space because I paint here sometimes when I come from Ontario to British Columbia. I paint here and I do some work for a gallery that I'm in BC, Hamilton Galleries. So, and sometimes, they go to work, we're here for a week, I gotta do something. So usually I set up in this living room with lots of tarps and I paint for the day while the kids are at school. Oh, I gotta flip the roasting vegetables. Just a minute. Doesn't that look yummy? We're having fresh tomato soup for lunch today. This is the bin I keep everything in the basement. So in it are sheets and there's a plastic tablecloth for their table when I use it, so that I just cover everything so that I do not get paint in their house. Here's the easel that he keeps for me. And he's brought these up from the basement so that I can go through it and make sure I have all the right supplies. I keep all my paint in a Rubbermaid container. And what I've done today to go through is kind of put them all in their color order to see and make sure that I have all my favorite colors. I've ended up with quite a few dried out pieces, but I've been doing this for years. So these paints are probably years and years old. So they just got a little dry. And what I normally do is I buy the 59, the 2-ounce containers of paint, tubes of paint, mostly because I know that if they do dry out, it wouldn't be as costly. So here's the paints that I use. So I've got 3 nickel azul gold. I've gone to Michael's or Opus here in Kelowna and without a list and picked up, again, some of my favorites. So I might try to slip these into my suitcase and take some of these home because I certainly don't need 3 tubes here in Kelowna. My favorite colors I've got green gold, my Titan buff. I've even got a tube of Hooker's green. Now this is years old because I don't think they make Hooker's green anymore. And that was a real find. My Indian yellow is one of my favorites. My manganese blue, certainly one of my favorites. So I'm showing you this to show this is my on-the-go studio paint supplies. They all fit in there, and it's really easy for me to pull out. So I'm not a plein air painter. I don't take this out into the woods or anything like that to paint. I take a lot of photos on hikes here. We print them out. And on that note, here's the stash of photos that I have from hikes and things that I've been on. This is Revelstoke. And I tend to keep here a stash of more Western images because Hamilton Galleries is a BC gallery, and to paint Muskoka scenes from Ontario doesn't quite make sense. But to paint the mountains and the streams, this is a photo that's my grandson and my son-in-law. That makes more sense here. So I keep an assortment of brushes, a few different sizes. one that I sign with. I always sign with a kind of a Japanese or a Chinese, calligraphy brush. This is how I sign my paintings. And this is sadly, these have got to go. And I've always got some varnish. This is a gloss varnish. So when I'm done my painting, I can varnish. And then I've got chalk. This is how I start my paintings. I chalk them in first. And yeah, there we go. So I've got all my supplies. I've checked. It's good. I'm going to load them all into the bins, and I'm going to take those with me to the Gallagher Community so that we can do a wonderful paint class. And I'm available for paint classes. If you want to fly me in, and we will make a deal and we will do some classes. So that might be something that I put on my bucket list. Travel to do classes. Don't you think that would be fun? All right, come along.
That comes a bit like
What are you doing, Gaga?
I'm going to be giving you some voiceover and going back and forth. But here we're arriving at the beautiful community of Gallagher. It is this lovely community, about 650 residences, homes, and this is the community center where we're going to be doing the class. So we had to park, and I had to unload into the building. And then that's where I got to meet all the ladies, and we started setting up. So the rec center, this is a room that they can use for multi-purpose. So the ladies have all been there setting up, and I brought in my tarps, my apron. You can't start anything until you put your apron on. And I started setting up, giving everybody chalk and paper, and just starting to get to know everybody, putting out my paints.
It doesn't make much sense at all. There were ones in the art studio that were kind of set up already. Let's go there.
This community center was so cool and had lots of, creative workshops for the residents. There was a woodworking restaurant, there was a clay restaurant, and, we got a little distracted walking by the clay restaurant by all the jewelry that was in the window. And then they had a painting studio, and that's where they went and they got a few easels. Well, we went and we grabbed a coffee, and we got back into the studio where everybody just continued to set up.
Your canvas red. Now, you are not going to be worried about this. You're not going to be worried that there's a stroke here or that it's not flat. You're simply getting rid of the scary white, okay? Because the white is what intimidates a lot of artists.
As I was saying, I always instruct everybody to get rid of that scary white. I have them in my class. I have them brush on Winsor Newton Red. It is a great color to use.
What I want you to do is give me 6 different compositions from your photo.
I thought this was great. Colleen brought in these 2 mats to find her compositions. And while the students were sketching, I thought I'd help. One of the canvases dry. It was a little bit thick, so we just wandered around and waved it around.
This is just regular chalkboard chalk. It's no big deal. And you're going to pick your favorite sketch. And now we're going to get that sketch onto your canvas. Okay? All right. So my idea for this one is I'm in love with that tree there. This is my sketch, basically. This is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to take my chalk and I'm simply going to draw it. That is all you're doing. You're drawing your sketch onto your canvas. All right? Go. And if you make a mistake, you just wash it off. It's just chalk. Right? Use little towel and go.
So as I said, this is just chalkboard chalk. It's really easy, and you just get in and you start drawing on your sketch. I want to thank my friend Jackie. She stayed the whole class and just took some video clips on my phone for me. So I really appreciate that because I was able to put this video together for you. So I'm just eyeballing that image. I'm sketching it in, and that is what the rest of the class was doing at this point. The next stage after they're done their chalking is going to be what I call the inking stage. And we will ink it in with thinned burgundy paint. That's what I use. So, but I want you to remember, you can use any color base and you can use any color to ink it in.
Okay, we're gonna have a lot of fun with the we're not gonna paint Snow White, so.
Okay.
Right?
No, that's right. There's a lot of color in there. Yeah, for sure. So I can handle those shapes.
As you're doing this stage, you might correct your chalk drawing. Like you might, as you started to see it better because you're doing a darker line, you might correct something. Okay?
So here we go. Over that chalk, I just use a thin burgundy glaze, and the rest of the class is working on that. And while they work on that, I thought I would start getting my paint set up so that I can give them the demo. So here we go. I'm loading up my palette. I don't have any rhyme or reason. I think I've told you that. I've watched some YouTubers and they put it in the, Roy G. Biv, and they follow the color, the rainbow when they're putting it in. I do tend to clump some colors together, but by the time I'm finished, I'm just throwing all those colors in there. And I love all the color. I don't limit my students to, a red, a blue, and a yellow so that they have to make all their colors. I use whatever colors I like, and I encourage students to use whatever colors they like. But because of my technique, I tend to, I always am creating custom colors because I do a blend. I love, love, love golden. And if you're watching this, you need to sponsor my next video. But I love golden paints. I like Liquitech heavy body. I throw in, you'll see that fluorescent pink there. That's an Amsterdam brand.
When I'm painting a painting, I don't start with the sky and work towards the front, basically, if it was layered. I don't work the sky and then the mountain and then the trees. If I was painting an island right now, I would treat the island as the middle ground and the water as the foreground and the sky as the background. This major section of trees, what I'm going to consider the middle ground. Some of these way down here in front, I've got to find it. Yeah, so my middle ground is going to be this section of trees. My foreground is kind of the bushes that are way down here. They're going to be the closest to me. So I'm actually going to use sometimes a bigger stroke or a bigger brush down here, because the bigger something is, like it comes forward at you, right? Like a fist is bigger when you're looking at here than it is over here. And then the background is what I'll do last. I'll actually build the background out from the foreground. I like it to just kind of meld between each other. So I never would paint the mountain and then paint the tree over top. Okay? I also start with the darkest darks. But a technique that I have is, if you noticed, I'm not mixing any colors. Hooker's green, gotta find that too. There it is. Hooker's green.
Oh, Hooker's green.
Yeah. It is discontinued, and I found this in my box. I'm like, Hooker's green is precious. It's precious. Hooker's green seems to be discontinued, but I don't know. But so is quinacridone burnt orange, and I'm really mad about that.
I know, I've got some.
You have some?
I know. No. No.
Oh, you can sell it to me?
No.
So, okay, I love when I'm doing my greens, I like to use, it's a Hooker's green, it's a turquoise, and a teal, as well as my green gold from Golden. This is like the most gorgeous green gold in the world.
What is that one called?
green gold.
Oh, just like it sounds.
Just like it sounds. And I've discovered recently a combo in my abstracts between green gold and a pink. Oh my word. It's just stunning. But what I do is I pick up different color, and I might even pick up a little hooker's green. I may have to mix that with water. It's gotten thick. So I've got a bunch of things on here, and I may even, yeah, that teal's gonna need a little water. See how I've got all of those on there?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kind of squint, and I see that the darkest darks are kind of in here, right? So I'm just gonna let it blend on the canvas. And what it does, and now see, if you look close, see how the red is peeking through? And it's
Yeah.
almost created that quinacridone burnt orange. It looks like that there. And I'm gonna leave it. That's the pine needles, the pine cones, all of the things. Like, I don't want you to, you can, it's your painting ultimately if you ever change this style. Today you're learning my technique, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to pick up and mix on the canvas, okay?
Okay.
You see how I got a highlight there and different things? This technique just creates branches. I don't have to go in and go, oh, there's a little branch here,
Right.
and then paint that branch there. No, if I want it lighter, I have found, interesting, I'm gonna show you this color combo. Brown, green, gold, and white is great. It's a great combo. I'm gonna put it where something will be very light. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
But do you also see how I have not cleaned my brush out from the last strokes? I'm letting it all commit together. But I'm gonna show you green, gold, and the unbleached. Look at the warmth.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So the unbleached is what I tend to love. I'll use the white, but the unbleached gives just a more organic, natural look.
I know. Okay.
Okay? So I'm picking up all these different greens, whatever greens you have, whatever greens you use. You could even hit blue. And we're gonna build those shapes that you're squinting your eyes at and seeing. Now I'm gonna walk around because all of you are painting different things. You're not all painting big tree branches. But here I'm gonna go in and use some of the different browns, and I'm gonna touch that Prussian blue. And same thing, because I'm not mixing it so that it's solid, I'm creating bark,
Yeah.
right? And so say, if I look at this tree, which is very much a BC tree, there's not a lot of blue trees
Right.
in Ontario. They tend to be a lot warmer. But the highlights on this tree, these trees, are not a lighter brown, it's a blue.
Yeah.
Do you see it? So if I'm gonna go in, I'm not at this stage yet, but if I wanted to highlight, it's blues in BC trees. But I just let that all organically live. So after I do the demo and teach the different steps, it's time for the students to work on their pieces. And what I do most of the class from then on is absolutely coach. I get in there and I teach, and we talk about direction of stroke. We talk about how to manage their particular composition. I will do a demo of certain strokes that I think if a student needs a little bit of extra help. And I do a lot of discussion about shadow and shape and where your sun is coming from, where your light source is,
things like that. Then I had a little bit of a moment to be able to go back and work on my painting, because that's also very helpful, because the students will come up, see what I'm doing, watch how I'm doing it. So it's a really great opportunity for them to look and see what I'm doing, and to kind of ask even some more detailed questions when they need it. But the students were doing so great. As you can see, we're getting some footage of as the day is progressing. I was absolutely thrilled. They seemed to be, every artist in every class is a little nervous, but these ladies seemed to move forward with confidence. They got what I was saying. They applied what I was saying. And you'll see in the end, when I start showing how the paintings progressed, where they got. Now, some of these ladies brought humongous canvases. And usually when I do a class, I teach on a 24 by 24, or even a 20 by 20. And we can usually get that done. These ladies, they brought big canvases. I have learned a whole bunch of things from the organizer of this event today, Colleen. This is a hairspray. I don't know what she used it for, but that is incredible to mist your palette. She also is using dog pee pads for the table to wipe your brilliant, guys. These are great tips. Those tips were really good. I actually really liked at the beginning the tip where you brought in the 2 different mats, and you could use them to move around your reference material to find compositions.
So that's quite a
So
change.
now I can show you here how I started pulling out from the positive into the background.
I continue to work with students, giving them little tips and what I see, and then they start employing the things that I've taught, and it's phenomenal. It's really neat to see. So we're at a point in the class where we have half an hour left. People brought very big canvases to this class, but I think I've been able to give them all that they need for their different areas that they have left. Lori has done an amazing job. Did you like the class, Lori?
I loved it.
Good.
I'm coming to Ontario to take my
Nice. Nice. And Judy is gone wild. Look at wild with this complementary color scheme painting. It's so fun, Judy. Did you like the class?
Oh, it was amazing. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Julia.
What are you going to pull out in the next half an hour?
Oh, I don't know.
So fun. And we've got Joan working on her beautiful painting. This is just stunning. Do you like the red showing through?
I really like the red showing through.
You really like the red showing
It
through.
really makes things pop.
It really does. Ooh, you know what? That's becoming a very soft, lovely waterfalls, isn't it?
Thank you.
Andrea has done this little wonderful painting. I love it. And it turns out that Andrea and I know each other from Ontario.
I love her sky.
I know.
I love her trees.
I know, it's so great.
Yeah.
We talked a lot with Andrea about direction of stroke. And she really employed it. So this brings you down into the foreground. It's great. Did you enjoy the class?
I loved it. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed learning how to create the strokes. I never would have imagined not mixing the paints as much.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Andrea is a lawyer that we actually used years ago. And she helped us in something. So now here I am helping her.
Yes, thank you.
And then Colleen wanted to do a floral. And this is where she's at. We talked a lot about shadow and things like that, and then kind of outlining and touching the canvas. I introduced her to fluorescent pink, and it's wonderful. And from here, we've got the back of Sharon, so that's okay.
Sharon doesn't want to be on camera, but Sharon is doing a wonderful landscape with lupins. It's from the Gallagher's golf course, which is where these ladies all live. So fun. Colleen, thank you so much for hosting me.
You're welcome.
Did you enjoy the class?
Absolutely.
Yes.
How's my hair looking?
You look gorgeous. Gorgeous, honey. All of you. So this is what I started working on so that I could show everybody paint strokes and things like that. And I won't be able to paint this until I come back to Kelowna, but it'll get tucked away in my son's house. And yeah. These are the messy artists over here. We're having so much fun checking out everybody's work, and then the light backlit Sharon's piece. Isn't that great? I love Judy's place. Judy's piece. Judy's place. But look at how the red is poking through on her piece, and it's almost like a little outline. This is my favorite section so far of Judy's piece. Oh my goodness, this is great. So that was really fun. All the ladies are just cleaning up, and wow, they did so great. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe this video. If you want to come take a class, I offer them at Crown and Press. Fly me in. Come on, just fly me in. I lied. I was able to get to finish it. I was so excited that I set it up that night and worked under lights. Their dog Maisie enjoying the view there. And I got it done, and it'll be at Hambleton Galleries in Kelowna. And here's an overlay of the actual painting. And that is a wrap for my trip to Kelowna this time. Sunset before we fly home. It's always bittersweet. Ready to go home, never ready to leave the grandbabies. And we'll see you in the next video. Have a great night.